1.85 multiplier, and he's highlighted the ones in the area that are using it.
But you aren't going to just roll this into our
Well, it's part
proposed
of,
budget?
it's part of the budget discussion, whether you think it's worthwhile to be considered. I did send some info.
Anything can be considered, but I don't want this rolled into the line item that we get to where it's, you can't see it. So this is going to be another decision by council whether to break that.
Absolutely, yeah. I wouldn't.
It's not from us, but I do appreciate the additional information and explanation.
It would be about $105,000 a year annual expense for his additional. And
Gotcha.
once you get into it, you can't back out of it.
Right. So how long has this been going on? Or how long have we known about this 1.85 and we haven't done it?
It goes back at least to Barry.
Okay.
Maybe even.
Now, you see, part of my issue with this is when we increase the payroll for the police officers, it would have been nice to know that we haven't been doing this for the past few years and incorporate this into that large bond.
Right.
Because this is a fringe, this is, would you agree? Yeah. This is something, it's been out there for a while, and I'm sort of feeling like, well, let's hit them with this, and then let's hit them with the 1.85. And then also, and this is me, I'm gonna think about this, I'm gonna continue to read over it, and I'm gonna ask some questions, but I don't think it's fair for a new employee who is, for instance, works at Parks and Rec, should get the hybrid. And I understand the difference, okay, I do. But I also think that certain positions, like in public works, there's some public safety issues there too.
Yes.
So, but this is for council, this is not for Andy
No,
Schultz or
and-
Brad Stipes or Joanna to decide.
No, and I do have, on the surface, I mean, I can see why it's being requested, I can respect it.
Yeah.
But what about the guy or the gal that retired last year? And then, well, I know that, that's part of the thing too, is just equity, and I would, sort of,
But this again is one of those things council's gonna have to weigh in on this specific item. I
and
don't
we
want
got a letter from Chief Hanks on this too.
Yeah.
And he mentioned recruitment, how many people would be eligible for it at the fire department?
2.
It's not volunteer.
He mentioned it would be
Paid staff.
recruitment, and I was.
No, he was talking about the new, if we build another fire station, which we're not, we made that decision inside of that.
Well, okay, but no, he also wrote a letter on this.
I know, he wrote a letter that it would be good to have it, because
Right.
it will help for future firemen to work on the new
Paid
fire
employees.
station. But we're
Paid
not gonna
if we
build.
had paid employees.
Yeah, if you had
Okay,
employees,
right, okay.
employees, which
Yeah.
we're not building the other fire stations, so this will,
And we're not
the
going
way
to.
I feel, this will benefit the two right here, and they benefit the police officers right now, which there are a lot that are wanting to retire soon. So those will really get the benefits.
Right.
I think personally, if you're wanting to get people to come in and work for you, I think what they are looking into, and mostly the new generations, they want paycheck right here. They want to know, are we making $10 or $11? I don't think they're really looking at retirement. That's just my
I don't
idea.
disagree.
I am glad, because I did not think there was a difference in the VRS police and fire, and I guess EMT falls underneath that too.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
First should
there
be
was-
all first responders.
Basically, I didn't think there was a big, I didn't think they got the old VRS, even though I understand why. And like Brad said, I respect it, but I didn't realize that, so that's something new I learned tonight.
Oh, so yeah, so the new hires are still eligible for Plan 1.
Not the hybrid.
No, I get it, yeah, and if you go to work for Town of Public Works or Recs Department or someplace else, public service, and you're not fire and rescue, then you have the hybrid plan, right?
I tell you, Vita's not providing this because I called. The 1.85,
Well, they're not
whatever,
as- Yeah, this is, yeah.
they're providing more of money per
This is
hour,
the
which
new-
is a really good thing, which that's what we want to keep. We want to make sure that people come in and stay with us.
Which this would help with.
It would help. The question is it fair to all concerned, and is it a recurring cost we want to have? $100,000 a year is a lot of money.
It's another $100,000.
It's the same
You can
as,
hire
that's basically
more
the same as a
people.
1% raise for staff,
Or on a
approximately.
grant, like you were talking
Mhm.
Isn't that right? A 1% raise, about 120,000?
About 250, 240.
about. Well, let me ask you, does it have to be one,
It's about 2%. 2% is about, so about
does
140.
it have to be 1.8?
About 120, that's what
Does
I'm
it have to
saying.
be 1.85? Can it be 1.75?
I don't think so, I think you only have.
Yeah, either got the
between
1.8
Yeah.
or 1.7.
One or the other, yeah.
All right.
Either or.
Okay.
And this is, it's only an option for, employees that qualify for sworn officers,
Yeah, it's
emergency
not
services
dispatch or
personnel.
anything like, it's not
Yes.
secretarial, you
No.
have to be an emergency responder.
So, right,
Puts your life on the line every day.
that's right.
I get that, and we did give a really good bump a few years ago, 10% across the board
Yeah.
for that. And I would like to say yes to everything that comes down the pipe, but you simply can't. I'm not saying no to it, but this is bigger than this committee, and this is something. we
This is
talk about.
council.
This is council, yeah. Okay, what else we got?
Randy, you think this would need a work session in itself?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an hour-long discussion.
Maybe we could,
Maybe it's a 15-minute.
maybe we add that with the budget amendment.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just tag it on as a sidebar discussion. Helps
Budget
with the
amendment.
for next week.
But not an item to make a decision as far as under other items.
Well, next week, we'll give them direction, a straw vote, either move forward with it into the budget, and then if you still don't like it, we can always just turn down the budget.
So you have three votes you're looking at, Shahana. First of all, we have the budget amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have, which is lesser, far lesser, is the community support. And once you vote for that, doesn't mean you can't change your mind later.
Right, this is just to give Val
This
an
is,
idea.
what this does is it checks the temperature of council on the different things. And then when we have a work session, people change their minds on things. They say, oh, I didn't know that, then I don't want to support that. Someone sent out an article about boys and girls clubs and some problems they've had that. And then you say, oh, I didn't know that either, so I do want to support that group, but now I don't want to support that group. And then, once we vote on, or once we have that discussion, it's still the second vote, but the ultimate vote is our budget. And I will assure you that I have never voted for a budget that I was absolutely perfect, because it doesn't exist. But the third and final vote is for the budget itself, and
Public hearing, and
so we're three votes: the budget amendment, and then the community support, and then we'll just discuss that and decide what community support groups are getting funding based on the final direction of council. And then the only other vote we have after that is the full budget.
But I have a quick question over here. So we got all these items up here. This is not part of it, correct?
Well, council, or the staff is
Is
presenting
this
that.
gonna be,
We
is this
can-
gonna be a second item under that?
It's
Since we
whatever we
haven't talked
decided
about
it
the
is.
farmer's market
We
yet?
can pull it out, we can leave it in, and that, we're gonna talk about this again next week, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
as a council.
As a council, yeah. It's not, it's out, it's gonna, so, answer your question is, stay tuned. Next Tuesday.
Thank
And
you.
Tuesday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Joanne, just give you an idea, you've been to one of these finance meetings before, but the reason why, and again, Steve Hubbard's usually here, we usually have a few staff members, you of course are welcome. And like I've always said, we always want input from council, but this doesn't prevent, but this, if the whole council was here, this would be another hour-and-a-half meeting. So this sort of gives staff we're not saying we're going to approve all this, but they're sort of testing the waters to see how to proceed forward. Now, maybe some of the other committees like central business, they can make these small decisions, but this is a big deal, okay? So, anywho.
So as you can see, we're just discussing, and ultimately, all bets are off until the budget's voted for.
Yeah, even during the work session, Randy, we
This is what
some
staff's
sort
bringing
of,
to us for
I
consideration.
sort of feel
That's
good
all
about
we're talking
this, let's move forward with it, as a majority. And if the majority doesn't, it's not an official vote, but then we expect them to scratch that out, just not sneak it in this out a month and a half ago as a group, right?
Yeah, and the other loose end, after Johanna made all these comments and everything, we've got added 2 more meetings to this laundry list of a lot of meetings, is whether or not council wants to have a separate meeting on the farmer's market during this budget process or not. And I know you want to, and I want to have a meeting too, but do we want to have it during this budget cycle?
I can
That
just
would-
have it in public.
That would require, well, what I'm saying is, that would require a majority of council to say, yeah, we want to have a meeting. I do want to have a meeting on the farmer's market.
Okay.
And whether we want to force that into this cycle right here, I mean, the farmer's market is starting in April right now, and actually, after this year, it's gonna.
May.
And
Well, in
we're actually
May.
talking about maybe moving.
But I'm not
moving
moving
that-
it to June.
Yeah,
We'd like to start in June, the end of
And
September.
then the construction project starts at the end of the season, and then next year, we have to relocate it anyway.
correct.
So I would, just for I mean, that's our other decision is, she has brought up a meeting on the farmer's market, and we agreed on, we need to have that on Saturday. The question remains, and I don't have the answer, I'm just saying, the other loose end here is, do we want to force that meeting into this compressed, into this list of meetings?
Will you be
That we
able
already have.
to, were you able to talk to the NRV regional yet, Randy, about trying to find out if they can use the funds for transfer them to the downstream part?
I think they need us to say, this is where we want it. In that work session, we'll say, council wants to move it,
Okay.
and then that's when they reach out to them and say, hey,
Okay.
either we, but Kevin should be able to find
He
out
said-
whether
he
we
said-
can or
He
not.
said he'd kind of just run it by them and fill them out. And I haven't talked to him
Well, we
today,
would need to know that.
but he said.
But
he-
will you
he said-
please have the
Sure.
conversation, or you want me to call?
I can talk to him.
Okay.
And then
I
let
talk
us
to
know.
Kevin about every week anyhow. so-
Will you let us know? Because that was one of the items came out.
Because I mean, it's right there.
Yes.
One thing that I will just say, if you don't mind, the sooner that I can get some guidance on that, the better it is, because we're trying to, reach out to vendors and those types of things, so just being able to have that guidance would be most beneficial.
Yeah, because we don't, now, you said you have someone now that's working in a part-time capacity for this, right?
Well, we've
Or
just
not.
sort of, we've
Tell me
basically tag teamed it. I have a part-time person that's doing it, myself, Charlton McCoy, as well as Morgan and Michelle, who worked on the farmer's market last year. So we're just doing it as a group. My part-time individual that's doing it came up with certain plans for the first, couple weeks and is working on a marketing plan to recruit vendors and as well as a marketing plan to recruit people to the area. But it's difficult to, from a recruiting of a vendor standpoint, they're going to want to know, what we're doing and those
Okay,
types of things.
I just had an idea, and tell me if I'm stupid, but, no, Casey's off our payroll, right?
That's correct.
Do you have someone in mind that could fill that singular role on a part-time basis between now and the farmer's market to actually give the attention it needs, so that we don't have do we, because
On
he's
the
off our.
assistant level,
What I'm saying is, what I'm thinking, I'm an engineer, I think this logically, unfortunately, I don't think sometimes about this, but Casey's off our payroll, theoretically, we have money to give somebody before we hire a new person, to work on a part-time basis to actually, coordinate some of the farmer's market stuff.
Well,
Because the new special events person, when are they gonna be hired by?
Hopefully, in March.
Oh,
Yeah,
March,
I mean-
oh, okay.
I mean,
I
that's
see.
really what that was the other position that we were looking
I
at,
see.
the other part-time position going to full-time, just so that they could sort of hit the ground running and start dedicating a lot of time to
Okay,
that.
so we're gonna have, Casey's job, that job will be filled hopefully by this time next month.
We would hope so, but
Well,
I
can we
can't
move
guarantee
this
that.
decision to be a town council meeting
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
and we'll
No,
talk
it
about
is,
the
but it
farmer's
is
market and everything
it is the
before we
third.
make a decision about hiring somebody else?
We're meeting on this budget amendment next Tuesday, so the
Okay,
answer is
because-
yes.
Okay,
So
because I
what-
really want, this year, I'm going to be looking at those numbers every 2 weeks for the farmer's market.
so how much money did we spend on the farmer's market last year.
Okay, we do have
Actual
some,
expenses.
just a minute, are we done with our formal agenda?
No, did you have a projection for twenty
Hold on,
twenty-one?
hold on. So that night on the amendment, we're gonna talk about the amendment,
The amendment is it.
The VRS.
Oh, and the VRS retirement. And the second one's
VRS,
community support.
and farmer's
Communities.
market.
Farmers market two and the third. Just because, as it relates to the budget.
Well, that's part of the budget amendment because we're talking about the position.
Yeah.
So it's by association, it's part of our
But-
agenda.
Are we
Yeah, I
gonna
don't
lead
wanna talk-
into other discussions with the relocation of the market?
Yes,
That's what I'm
please.
curious about.
I am so
That's
excited.
a
about
lot.
it.
We
There
talked
is
about
a lot.
But shouldn't that be a separate conversation?
We have to decide, we have some bigger decisions about the farmer's market for next year because the farmer's market will not be held in the same location.
And
this year
that's
regardless.
exactly why I'm
But we
bringing all
have,
of this
but we have
up.
a whole year to decide, or I mean, we have at least this calendar year to decide what we're gonna do with that.
Well, we got a lot of decisions that we have to make right now because the vendors are not coming, because they're not getting enough, they're not selling this stuff. People are not coming to the farmer's market. There's many issues. The location
Let's
is
just
the worst
close it.
location.
Hell with it. Let's just
Well,
shut down the farmer's
Yeah, I'm
market.
all for it. I
Well,
mean, we have tried, we have done it, and it's not working. The Hickok Street is still closed, and people are upset. They're upset about it all the time.
Okay.
I got over 3,000 comments this week about it.
right, we're not gonna settle that.
You got how many comments?
3,000. Between all the different things
So
that
Brad,
are posted online.
You need a decision on the farmer's market by when?
Gosh, that's a hard time, just as soon as possible. I mean, I wanna try to get the rules, regulations, applications to vendors out by the end of this week, beginning of next week at the latest. So, I mean, anytime within the next few weeks would be very beneficial. We're gonna go ahead and we're having weekly meetings as a selected staff to make this transition work and to do the best that we possibly can with it until we find the direction of what's gonna happen. But we're gonna do what we need to do. It's just to be able to have a definite and basically a definite direction would be very beneficial just from a vendor
I
standpoint.
understand completely.
Yeah, they need
And I think
direction.
what we'll do next Tuesday then, when we have our work session, we will just ask the question, do we want to continue the farmer's
Exactly.
market? And we'll see what council says, and if the answer is no, then that's a watershed decision.
Mhm.
Then we roll down that side of the roof, and it's easy from there.
Yeah.
And if the majority of council says yes, then
Yes.
separately, not at that meeting, but separately, if we want to continue the farmer's market, then at some future date, we'll talk about where that place is and how we want to do that next year. And your position, if the majority of council wants to continue with the farmer's market next Tuesday, then the second question is, do we want to assign the help that you're requesting to do that?
Yeah, and please understand, it's not just for the farmer's market, it's also.
It's events.
Yeah, I
Yes.
understand, and so that's,
And maybe that's something we can look at with Everly too, because I'm part of that committee too, where we can talk about maybe we don't have a farmer's market, maybe we have other different events for the community.
it's,
I mean, there is beautiful.
I get it. And you
Every
know,
time we have those events, people show up.
I-
That we are getting the most money for our buck. I mean, all these bills that we got right here are for a whole bunch of stuff trying to get people to come downtown.
I know, this, I understand, and I think I think actually, and I'm not asking for a response here, but I think there'd probably be a lot of people that were relieved if we just gave up on the farmer's
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
I'll just say that, and I don't expect a response, but I'm sure that would simplify life for a lot of people
Mhm.
because of all the drama associated with it, and I get it. And I'm part of that, because I don't, it's hard to discern sometimes what the right choice is.
Yeah.
And guess what? There's not, it's a difficult decision,
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Well,
I
we
will
started
say-
a few years ago, it was, the reason
We
why I was
tried,
on
we
the
did
street,
it,
because we didn't
yeah.
want to invest the capital into buying property, building stalls, we wanted to see how it works.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, is we've seen how it works, right?
Listen,
But
it's a legitimate
at least
question.
we can go back, because I know over 8 years of, before we had the farmer's market, that is all I heard about, is why don't you have a farmer's market?
Yeah, this if
So-
you were on council then,
We
you
gave it a
might feel
shot.
differently about this.
Well, we gave it a
But
shot.
We are at a
did-
crossroads.
We
are at
didn't put a ton of
crossroads,
money into it,
And I'm actually right there
Right.
with you. I mean,
so.
I mean, we
I
can
don't
spend
know.
the funds somewhere else, we can have beautiful events down there, we can make something that's special to Christiansburg.
Right.
And it's gonna bring us together, not separate us, because right now it's a mess. Hickok Street does not look good, I had some pictures and everything, it just does not look good, you know?
I agree
We just
with
didn't put the whole point was not to sink a ton of money in this thing.
Yeah.
that.
Or
Right.
else we'd be sitting here right now saying it's a secondary market, which we figured it would be, but a very unsuccessful secondary farmer's market, but we sunk $500,000 in. I'd rather say it's unsuccessful,
Mhm.
we're not gonna sink any more money into this.
And I will tell you right here today, and this is not, I feel this way even if you didn't show up for this meeting tonight. I'm on the fence on this myself. I don't, it's difficult. Judgments are difficult. So
I,
even without you showing up tonight, I still share the same sentiments. I'm not placating you by saying that because I don't know.
I would say just, you don't have to go to a farmer's market that is not open now, but I encourage you to go to a farmer's market in other places.
I do.
And go to the one over here, well, go to our streets. Go and look at Hickok Street.
I
It's
went-
a street,
Yeah.
it's a street. Why don't we close the other side of Hickok Street, right next to the touristic office, if that's what you wanted to do?
Mhm.
And all
Why
that's
is
on
it
the
the
table.
main, two main roads, that's one way and another direction going back. It's a wide street. We're taking a street because we don't have anything else. Well, now we bought other properties, we bought the one over there for the train, that's a good property.
Well, what we've
Maybe
talked,
we can talk about even having an indoor outside farmer's market later on in there.
well, one thing we
Or
talked
across the
about,
street from the aquatic center or other places. And it does not have to be a farmer's market, it can be a community event.
and all that's out there, and we've given this several years a try, and now we just have to decide, do we fish or cut bait, do we continue? But I will say, like I said in the retreat meeting last week, watching, the nearest one I'm aware of is Blacksburg's, and it didn't take off for about 10 years. It
Yeah,
took
but
a
it's
long
a
time.
different,
It is different.
different environment.
I get it, but they also made a big investment, and Henry is
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
We've done it with duct tape and binders,
Right.
Ron, except for staff, we put a lot of push behind it staff-wise, but we have put a lot of capital improvements down there to make it happen. It's
They
been-
didn't take a main street downtown.
Yeah, and actually,
Salem's is probably the best example for comparisons, their main street. our
We
main
shouldn't be
street.
comparing ourselves with Blacksburg as far as that goes. All I'm saying is, we need to do a better job because we're a joke in the town. We're
The farmers
literally a joke.
market's a
Yes,
joke, yeah.
it is. I don't feel, I actually felt sorry for Casey Jenkins last year. No wonder he left us. You know?
Well, that's not believable.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, the good thing is, Joanna, we didn't sink $1 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So, on our formal agenda, are we have anything else, Randy, except for we've added 2 more meetings, which we need?
Yeah.
So, are we done with the formal agenda? Okay, so have you, if you want to bring up.
Locations and
Well,
stuff.
no, we're done with that. We're done, until we meet as a group,
Okay.
we got a big watershed decision. and
Well, it's
here's the
real easy,
engineering
if we
team.
decide as a group to not do it, it's
Then
done.
that's easy.
We
It's
don't
done.
even,
It
we
rolls off
won't,
the roof.
if it's
and-
something that a committee wants to take up, like central business or rec in the future, that's something for them to take up.
Mhm.
In fact,
And I would almost
actually-
encourage that happen, if council decides to close it as a whole.
And actually, that should be the first thing on the agenda before the budget amendment is just simple thumbs up, thumbs down, and discussion on the farmer's market in general. Do we want to do that again this year? And then, because I do believe there'll probably be a lot of people relieved if we did walk away from it.
Well, we're
We've
gonna have to
got-
get, you're gonna have to get that straw vote from council, Randy.
I agree,
It's a yes or
but
no.
that'll be the first item because then that leads into our budget amendment.
Yep,
Okay,
So I
so,
just say that's all.
well,
possibly.
You're gonna
yeah,
put this
we'll see.
listed in the-
So what do you have
in the
over
budget
here?
for next
Do you have
year
something
anyway,
else
right?
you want to share as far
Sorry,
as?
sir.
Well,
You got a bunch
yes.
of paper. I don't want to look at all of it. What do you
This
have? What have
is
you learned?
just some because
Oh,
I
we-
run
that's
out of
what I'm
paper.
done. There's some
We're done with the-
fiscal year budget schedule
We're done, right?
and
That
revenue
was the
outlook.
schedule. Revenue outlook, haven't spent a lot of time on it. We're
Actually,
not seeing any
save
big
that
major
for
changes
Tuesday
other than
until
what we had last year. probably see
You all
a
right with
little
that?
bit of growth,
Yeah, that
I
should
mean,
fairly steady
we're
revenue.
gonna discuss it as a group
Current
next
budget
I
week.
just,
good.
this does not